So, just you talked about some of the language that has been used in the meetings. So, I watched those videos. There was some quite damning sort of dialogue with Brent Impey, who's the chairman of New Zealand Rugby. I know Rob Nichol has said some quite interesting things. Um, I thought Brent Impey said that it was a lose-lose for you guys to get involved. So, do you feel like maybe you guys were essentially never in the running? And have you had any response from any of those guys in return in regards to what you guys have been doing?
Mm. Um, the short answer is no. Every time we try to reach out with Rob Nichol or his staff, they basically just hide behind emails and they say he's not busy or he's not available, whatever. Brent Impey's different because he's board level. We only do things through our lawyers now, so that's a bit different. But language-wise, yeah, I mean, this was probably compounded with the fact that I'm female. I'm used to this sort of aggressive way of males talking to me, and that's in all codes. So I mean, I had the same thing in basketball. So back here in rugby, it's no different. But it's really just, I think for me, it was the racial undertones. It was the concept of New Zealand Rugby feeling and New Zealand Rugby Players Association feeling like they could tell us how our community should be doing things. And I was sitting there just listening. I mean, the Rob Nichol thing, it was actually, he sat there for an hour talking. And the way he talked about our community, the way he said, you know, I don't think Tonga's going to be anywhere, and Samoa is really going to struggle. We asked the Māori boys, but Tonga te whenua, or tikanga Māori, and I was just sitting there going, wow, I can't believe you're actually talking like this. It's inappropriate, and it's also he was gloating, and the reason why Rob was so comfortable talking like that, the way he did, and I think the reason why Brent feels so comfortable talking like that is because they hold the power. So at that point in time when I spoke with Rob, um, Moana Pacifica had been put through as the preferred partner, and obviously it was Rob Nichol and New Zealand Rugby Players Association who made that call, so they knew that they were in the gate. They knew they'd won the bid and they were going through, or whatever you want to call it. So he was very confident meeting with us. It was the only time he'd ever agreed to meet with us. And actually, to be fair, the only reason why that meeting went ahead was because Sir Michael Jones, asked for us to meet with him. So the language is shocking. It's all about, Palangi knowing way more than Pasifika or Māori, and it's very in your face and it's hard to manage, but you just have to know that you've got to, stick it out, listen to the facts, and then do what we've done, which is bring that awareness to the community about how we're actually being used and abused in the system. So it's systemic racism, we know that, but it's something that we have to cope with and deal with. And if we're going to do something about it, we actually have to bring it to the surface and show everybody. So I've had a lot of feedback, obviously, from the videos, and a lot of the feedback, especially from my European colleagues, is that they could not believe that language or the way that they were speaking was even possible. They actually had to hear it for themselves to fully understand and embrace the struggle we go through. Yeah. Yeah, and so that's why it was so crucial that we released those videos so that people could actually understand. It's one thing for me to tell you the story about how Rob spoke to me like this, and Mr. MP spoke to me like this, but to actually hear them talk like that about our community, about our people, and about me in particular as well, while I was in those conversations, that paints a pretty clear picture. It's not, can't be, you know, there's no murky there. You're hearing it straight from the horse's mouth.
So I suppose my next question is, what's next for Kanaloa?